Hi, this is Andrew McLaren. We're going to talk about classroom expectations and how to improve student behavior. I want to first start talking about why you want to have the students make the rules, and then you're going to see some slides that I use to actually do this. When the students make the rules, they've decided what's important to them, and they're going to tell that their peers, hey, you're breaking my rule or our rule, and this is an agreed upon rule. You agreed to this as well, right? You could have said something when we were making these rules, but you didn't. So, like, you can imagine these conversations that students will have when they have actually made these rules. And also, this gets to the point when you might have a student who's misbehaving and they say, nobody cares that I'm doing this. And you can remind them, well, actually, your group members, they had put on here that they do care about getting distracted in our classroom rules. So it's really important for having those self checks and having the authority not come from the teacher down at the students, but having that authority be owned by the students and that they're monitoring each other. It's also a really important life skill. If they are going to be at lunch, they need to be making sure that they know how their friends want to be interacting during lunch. Like they need to be able to make rules or like general things that they don't want people doing or that they want people doing when they're interacting, right? So it's good practice for that as well. And it really is pretty powerful when other students correct other students like, hey, we need to get on task, we need to finish this lab today, or something like that. um, the core though, this isn't going to fix students that are just failing and they're seeing no path to success, because those students, yeah, they like peer pressure isn't going to really have much of an effect on them if they don't feel like they can be successful in class, right? So you might need to look at your grading structures, maybe consider looking at grading for equity. It's a really good book, and you might look at like taking retakes or restructuring your tests or not making classwork count for towards the grade. There's a number of strategies that you could use to help students who just don't feel like they can be successful in the class. But student rules made by other peers are not going to fix those issues. Those are going to need additional supports. Okay. All right. Let's show you what I actually use for this. So I like to start with a warm up where they actually just list out their rules. They could be doing this at a table or like a group of four. You want to give them some opportunity to just hear what other people are kind of important before you say anything. And you could also put this on a Padlet so that students are posting things on there as well. When you go through this, there's three main days. There's day one where you're really making the rules, and each period will get to add to that slide. So if you're teaching 6 periods, each period is going to be adding rules to that same slide. It's like your expectation for like science, for me, like seventh grade science or something like that. And so each period adds some rules, and so that list gets longer throughout the day. And then you're going to need to follow up and figure out which rules were the most important. So underline those critical rules. You can also print out the rules and post them in the classroom at this point. I went digital. It's also nice for changing it on the fly. In addition, it you might not have space on your walls for something like this, right? But you want to have it somewhere that the kids can easily get to, so you can reference it, right? And then later on, you're going to want to go over this, let's say like a month later or 2 months later, or as needed. Maybe classroom expectations were not great last week and you're coming in on Monday and you got to go over them again. I would encourage you to just have them reflect on, are we meeting these? Do we need to adjust them? Instead of telling them you're not meeting this, you got to give them the opportunity to reflect and think about what they need to change, because in the end, these are our rules. It's our classroom. So we need to help each other out and figure out if we need to adjust the rules, if they're not being leading to success. So here's the actual slide that I would work on. This is what I just start off. I've got some suggestions, and then they tell me what they think are my responsibilities because they like to do that. And then here's what it might look like after you've gone through it with a couple periods after day two, and you've like highlighted or underlined, or I guess I did it in bold, the things that are the most critical, right? All right, I think that's it. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for McLearning with me. I've got a few more offers that I'd like to let you know about, and remember, like and subscribe. For each video on YouTube, I am making an interactive version using HP5. These will be for sale on Podia, and if you click on the link in the video, you should be able to go directly to that product. I also have 2 demos I'm going to be linking so you can kind of see what these products look like. So I would recommend checking out those demos. I also offer one-on-one remote tutoring through Wyzant. Please use the links that I have linked below. That way I can get 100% of the hourly rate as opposed to 75. Each video also has a link for my Patreon, and you can join at the $3 level to get some resources I use for tutoring or to support the channel. And I also have a $5 raffle level, which you could either get some free online tutoring or 5 interactive lessons for free. You choose which ones. And then I also have my Teachers Pay Teachers, which has some old lessons that I made from when I used to be a teacher. I may be adding to that. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you learned something.